Chicago Bears 27, Arizona Cardinals 16. Bears move to 6-9, and the Cardinals fall to 3-12. With the Patriots win on Christmas Eve night, Arizona now jumps into the number 2 spot in the draft order.
Oldest rivalry in the NFL.
A classic, yeah.
First took place in 1920, apparently.
Oh, what a game.
And neither of those two teams was called what they're currently called. The Bears, I think, were the Decatur Staleys, and I forget where the Cardinals were from, but it was somewhere else, not Chicago. Like
St. Louis?
No. Like it was one of those ridiculously specific regional Midwest deals that then became the Chicago Cardinals, then became wherever the hell else they moved for the rest of their years. But it was the Decatur Staleys versus the something else Cardinals.
I already have no more use for this game.
No? Nothing?
No.
You got nothing?
Justin Fields scrambled really well.
Yeah.
So the Bears finished with 250 yards on the ground. Of course, that includes scrambles and everything. Khalil Herbert with a nice game, 112 yards. Justin Fields with 9 carries for 97.
Yeah. Cardinals couldn't stop Justin Fields at all. I mean, that was a big part of this. Their defense couldn't really stop them. The Barbarian had a sack, though.
Barbarian had a sack. He needs 4.
And
he needed
pressures.
like a 4-sack game.
Yeah, and 5 pressures to his credit. Yeah. Like he had a good game, the Barbarian.
Bears got up 21-0, and Cardinals, scored late, fourth quarter, got within 8 in the fourth quarter, but Cairo Santos with the 29-yard field goal with 1:05 left to officially seal the deal for the 11-point win for the Bears.
This felt like a game where I think Chicago felt like they were trying to run out the clock for like 2.5 quarters.
They've had that's how they played the 2 Lions games.
Yeah.
Were like that, where they had this lead and they spent the third and fourth quarter trying to put together 10 to 15 play drives.
Maybe, like I appreciate the effort, but at some point, just keep winning before you try and salt the win away. Like let's just keep going. We're in no danger here of, I think, losing this game if we just keep playing the way we're playing. And instead it was like, well, let's batten down the hatches and shut up shop. We've got it on ice now. And that was the only thing that let the Cardinals back into the game.
I think, again, the high-level stuff for me, for both teams. For Arizona, they went from early in the season being really feisty and being competitive, and I know they just beat Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago. They've sprinkled in enough feistiness while still sitting here with a top 2 pick.
So sprinkling of feisty.
Right? Which is a nice combo, right?
Yeah.
For Jonathan Gannon, first-time head coach. You want to be feisty. You want to have a winning culture, but without the wins. That's the dream. If you're Arizona.
Winning culture without the wins.
Winning culture without the wins. Now, on the other hand, if you're Chicago, they haven't had a winning culture since 2018. Like they haven't had a lot of wins in a while. And, it's one of those balance. Like, again, you lose a little draft position. It doesn't matter. You still have the number 1 overall pick. The Bears are going to be sitting at 8 right now. Whether they're 8 or 10 or 11, I don't think they care because they're going to have that opportunity to probably pick number 1 overall. But if you're Chicago, stacking a few wins and going on a little run and having some momentum heading into the offseason and next year and seeing defensive improvement, some of their young guys developing, all those things I think are good for the Bears.
And from a Cardinals point of view, I mean, they're sort of sitting there looking like their most obvious draft pick is Marvin Harrison Jr., right? It's like the number 1 wide receiver in the draft, which also perfectly tailors with what is currently, I think, the biggest need on this team is they don't have that number 1 impact receiver. Now, okay, Marquise Brown was not in this game. Even when he is, I don't know that you want to pay him the kind of money he's going to want to get paid this offseason, so you might be without him anyway. But like if you inserted Marvin Harrison Jr. into this game and, the current receiving core was the same, but now you've got Marvin Harrison Jr. as the anchor and the number 1 target guy, that would have looked, I think, totally different.
The one thing I disagree on is I don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is the most obvious pick. I think they have to consider quarterback.
I don't know that they are. They sound, look, it could all be coach speak at this point, but it kind of sounds like they're fairly well set on Kyler. And even if, now maybe they'll trade down from number 2 to
the trade down's a fascinating move there.
But if they're stuck, I don't think they're taking a quarterback. I think they'll take the best non-quarterback.
I don't know, man. You evaluate Caleb Williams and Drake May, and it might be the play. I know it's a lot to get out from under as far as Kyler's contract and everything, but
and I think they might be genuinely just sold on him. Like, he's the guy. We've got our guy. We don't need, we don't need the quarterback. We already have one in the building. Now, I don't know how you can come to that conclusion based off what we've seen so far, but they kind of sound like they have.
Yeah, and they might be. And again, this is the battle. These two teams would right now, if the draft was today, have the top 2 picks, the Bears and the Cardinals. And I said going in, the biggest story is Fields. Can Fields do anything to salvage his Bears career? Will he do anything that makes him attractive enough for other teams? And, Will Kyler did the same, same kind of question. This was a Fields game where the passing stat line's not great.
Yeah.
But you see 97 yards on the ground. Again, that's what he brings to the table. Even when he's not on from a pass game standpoint, he brings a lot to the table on the ground, and that'll be attractive for enough teams. I think that there'll be something.
This was a game, though, where, the spectrum of opinion on Justin Fields is all over the place. I mean, there is a huge volume of Bears fans that think he's absolutely legit and is a star, and the Bears are screwing him. And like this, though, against the Cardinals defense, this was the kind of game where even though he played pretty well and his running was spectacular, and he was the difference between winning and losing. Like they probably don't win this game without Justin Fields. Given the opposition, this was a game where if you think he's that good, you would have wanted to see more as a passer from Justin Fields in this game. I have an important update on the record for turnover-worthy plays in a game.
You've been loading this the whole time?
No. I have people that do these things for me.
Oh.
Ben Cooper, our editor extraordinaire, came back with information. Apparently, it's a 3-way tie for the most turnover-worthy plays in a game at 9. 3 players have had 9 turnover-worthy plays in a game. Name them. They're all gettable.
Is Skelton one of them?
No.
Okay. Derek Anderson?
No. One of them we've mentioned in this thing. It's not Josh Freeman, but his name has come up in volatility discussions.
Fitzpatrick had
Yes.
one. Yeah, Ryan Fitz.
2016, Ryan Fitz with
Fitzmagic.
9 in a game.
I want to say, and this is the reason why we had those Fitzpatrick discussions, was it week 3 of 2016?
Yes, it was.
Because in week 2, he absolutely dealt.
Didn't he had
one to hit that point. He had one of the best games of his career in week 2, and he came back in week 3 with 9 turnover-worthy plays.
Was that the year where he started with 2 games of 90 and then had the disaster?
Something like that, yeah. Like I think he torched the Bills on Thursday Night Football, didn't miss a throw, and came back the next week with 9 turnover-worthy plays. Because we used to joke, as soon as Fitzpatrick starts playing well, you bench him.
Right.
Right? It's going to run out.
Yeah, exactly. He's the archetype of that discussion we were having before. Okay, 2 more.
Give me some time. This will be like a running.
Oh, okay.
We'll let the chat play.
All right. Yeah, the chat could play the game.